Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing this evening? It is currently 11:22 p.m. on this cold Sunday evening going into Monday. It is currently 28 degrees outside. I have a feeling that many of my videos will be starting with me saying, on this cold evening, going into an even colder morning. How are you guys doing today? Well, let me tell you what I did today. I didn't do a whole lot of anything. In fact, we didn't even go to brunch today. We just kind of slept in all day. Well, so after I got done vlogging last night, then I listened to my audiobook for a little bit. Then I decided I was going to finish Krampus. So I finished Krampus last night at like 6:15 in the morning. I finally finished it. That movie was really good. Like, if you're looking for a good Christmas movie, I mean, it's a horror movie, but it's not like super scary or anything. And it was just kind of because it was like kind of funny. There was a lot of funny parts to it. But it's about a kid that, like, he loses hope and stops believing, you know, and so it's like, what happens when you lose hope and stop believing? And this guy, like, named Krampus comes, and it's like this German legend that the grandma tells, and like the whole town goes into this like blizzard, and like they all lose electricity and stuff, and Toni Collette was in it, who I love Toni Collette. It was just really good. I really liked it. I'm glad I watched it. So I can say I watched a new Christmas movie this year at least. And then I slept for the majority of the day off and on. Those blackout curtains in our bedroom, I mean to tell you, they are dangerous and they are delightful because, I mean, it is so nice to sleep in a room that is like pitch black, but at the same time, like, I just don't want to get up. And Alex just laid in bed all day long. He like got up, took the dogs out, came back to bed, watched a little TV, fell back asleep. I would like wake up and he'd either be watching TV or he would be asleep. And so I was like, when I realized we weren't going to brunch, I just was like, well, I'm just gonna go back to sleep. So I slept most of the day and it was just wonderful. It was just really, really nice to get kind of caught up on some sleep, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, it was really nice. And so then at like 6 o'clock, because I wanted to make videos today on all of my channels, so I got up and I was like, well, I'm gonna make some drama videos. So I filmed 2 drama videos back to back and got all that stuff fixed. And then Alex was like, I had gone to Meijer and bought a bunch of stuff the other night. I bought like bagels and cream cheese and Havarti cheese, Gouda cheese, these lettuce banana boat things, lettuce boat things, and to make sandwiches. And then I bought potato salad, red skin potato salad, and like hummus and chips and stuff like that. So Alex wanted to order pizza. I wasn't in the mood for pizza tonight, so I ordered, or I just made a bagel sandwich with potato salad and stuff and had a little picnic. And we started watching the show on Peacock called One of Us is Lying. And it's actually based on a Karen McManus book, which is called One of Us is Lying, which I had read. And I've been wanting to read the sequel to it, which is called One of Us is Next. But I'm going to wait to read that book until I finish watching the series, because I do not remember who was the killer in the book. I remember you find out, and I don't remember being super shocked by it, but I don't remember who it is. I will say the show is done really well, but they change a lot of it. They change a lot about the characters, and they change some of the storylines, and the way that the book, when you read the book, it was like each chapter was a different person's point of view, and that the show is not like that. So I will also say this, that the TV show has a lot of really like adult themes to it, which the book had adult themes too, but there wasn't like gratuitous cussing and anything like that in it. And there's like a lot of cussing in the show, which, I mean, I could care less about that. It's whatever, you know. But it just kind of surprises me if they take this young adult book and they turn it into this, which I just don't think it's necessary for all of that, but whatever. I mean, I think you can allude to those kinds of things without having, you know, for it to be overboard. But the show is good. We watched the first 2 episodes. I think there's 8 episodes total. I will say it follows the storyline rather closely, but it, I mean, I think it's a good depiction. It's a good book to TV adaptation. But the way that certain things come out is different than how it was in the book. Like the way that, okay, so it's all about all these kids that are in detention, that's all I'm gonna say. But the way that they all end up there, like in the book, you find it out at the very beginning, and in the show, it like comes out like in the 2nd episode at the end. So anyway, it's interesting, it's good. And I had been wanting to watch it for a while. I also watched Charlie Brown's Christmas today, which I recorded on regular television, and then I also watched Frosty the Snowman. But I was kind of up and moving around doing stuff, watching Frosty. And so I have now watched 6 Christmas shows so far for this year. I've watched more than that. I watched like parts of 4 Christmases, and I've watched some other things that I've had on in the background. But from my list, I've watched 6 shows, and I actually added, I had 25 things I wanted to watch on my list, and I added a 26th thing last night, which was, it came upon a midnight clear, which I was actually talking about in my vlog last night. I just remembered Mickey Rooney is who I was talking about when I was saying that did movies with Judy Garland. It was Mickey Rooney. So Mickey Rooney was in that one, and he's really funny. I love Mickey Rooney. Anyway, or I loved. I think he's since passed away, hasn't he? So, yeah. I'm gonna try to, like, at least watch 1 movie a day this week, or at least have it on in the background while I'm doing stuff. I can't believe it's the week of Christmas. It seems so crazy. Alex's cousin Maya flies in Wednesday morning, and then Alex is gonna work. He may go to the airport with his mom on Wednesday morning. I don't know if his mom has to work on Wednesday or not. I think his cousin flies in really early, and if she does, I think she like took like the red eye or something. If she does, maybe not. Maybe she flies in like mid-morning. I can't remember. But I was gonna say I could always volunteer to go pick her up at the airport. But that'll be fun. So she's coming in the 23rd. I was texting her today. And then, is it the 23rd? No, the 20th, that's the 22nd. So, yeah, that'll be fun. I can't wait to see her. And for Christmas Eve, it's just gonna be she and Alex's mom and Alex and myself. I've got one more thing I've got to go buy Alex's mom for Christmas. And then, and I've got like 1 or 2 things I've got to buy Alex for Christmas, and other than that, I'm done. I still have to buy the gift cards, but I'll do that sometime this week when I'm out and about doing stuff. So yeah. That's what I have going on. The coffee that I am drinking is those Crazy Coffee K-Cups. And this is the praline chestnut. And it's really good. They're all of them, that whole brand, I don't know if maybe it's just the ones I bought, but they're all kind of nutty. Did I say that last night? But like very strong and nutty. I really like them. Which is funny because I don't usually like that in coffee. But it's almost kind of like so much that I really like it. So yeah, that was our day. Alex got pizza. He got half cheese and jalapeno and half just cheese and like 5,000 sauces. And then I ate my bagel sandwich, and we both had Diet Coke, which Alex never usually drinks Diet Coke. And now since I have all this Diet Coke in the fridge, she's like, can I have a Diet Coke? I'm like, yeah, sure, you can have a Diet Coke, babe. You don't have to ask me. He's so cute. So he's been drinking Diet Coke lately. I've converted my husband into being a Diet Coke drinker, a coffee drinker. Oh, somebody that likes to make the bed. He didn't used to like to make the bed when we got together. And he's just working Monday and Tuesday this week, and then he's off until, I think he said next Monday. I thought he was going to take off some days next week, but he said he's going to work like most of next week, probably every day except for New Year's Eve. He might even work part day on New Year's Eve, I don't know. But that's next week. He only really works part days on Fridays anyway, so he'll probably work a full week next week, I'm assuming. But it'll be nice for him to have a couple days off. The dogs love when Alex is at home. You know, I'm with them all day long and stuff. That when he's home, like, they are literally, like, just on top of him. Like, this whole weekend, they've just been, like, they're so cute. And they've just been on top of him the whole weekend. Okay, so I wanted to buy them something special. And so I was looking on Amazon last night, and I actually saw, so you guys know I follow that Justin Anderson on Instagram that's like best friends with Kristen Cavallari. He's like the hairstylist guy. I follow him, and his fiance Scoot, who's at Aaron Rhodes, he used to be like a YouTuber, he and his twin brother, but they're not YouTubers anymore. I don't really know what he does. I think he's just like the fiance of Justin Anderson now, but they're a really sweet couple. But anyway, they bought their dogs. They have a dog named Doug. They have a dog named. I did a cameo for somebody. Oh, I shouldn't say that in case. Oh shoot! I don't know if they're gonna get it early or if it's for Christmas or whatever. Well, if you have a dog named Doug, then you know that you're probably getting a cameo from me. Oh, I hope I didn't ruin it for anybody. But I think people usually, like, I'll do them for them for Christmas and then they give them to them, like, right away. Because I always get, like, the comments or the messages back that say, I gave it to her early. Like, the boyfriends and the husbands always get cameos from me. I did a bunch of cameos last night, too. So, so they have a dog named Kevin. And, I think the dog's name is Kevin McAllister, like from Home Alone. And so they, you know, like Lamb Chop that Tucker loves, like the little, like, we call her Lady, that little Lamb Chop dog, or not dog, but Lamb Chop stuffed animal. Like, they got a big one for her, like one that, or for him, that's like this big. And the dog was going crazy, and I was like, okay, this is perfect. Like, I want to get one of these for Tucker because Tucker loves his Lady, and I would love to get like this huge one. Well, they didn't have them on Prime that you could be delivered right away, because I was like, okay, where can I'm going to go actually to PetSmart and see if they have them there. But I was like, where can I go so what else can I get them online? So I found they have these like stuffed animals for dogs that have these little heart things inside of them that like beat. And they're supposed to be for dogs that have anxiety and get stressed out easily, and it's supposed to help them with separation anxiety. And you like put them in their crate with them like when you leave, and so it's like a beating heart kind of thing. And so I got one I was originally getting it for Boo because Boo has like bad anxiety and gets stressed out easily. But then I bought one for each of them. So I thought we could keep one in their crate for when we're gone, and then we could have one in the bed. Boo Radley doesn't play with toys, so he probably won't. I want to show you guys this house. I think I showed it to you the other day, but I want to show it to you like when you're driving up on it. It is so pretty. Do you guys see? Look at this. And I love that they have all the multicolored lights and stuff. Isn't that so pretty? They have a little Santa and Mrs. Santa Claus out there in front of their house. Oh, I love it. It's so pretty. I love driving around and seeing all the Christmas lights while I vlog. So, I got those for them for Christmas. They can't really have any special treats or anything, you know, like that's the thing that's kind of sad. And I used to love to buy them all three dogs on Christmas there were like these canned dinners that you could get them, and it would call like Thanksgiving dinner or Christmas dinner, and it had like peas and carrots and all this kind of stuff in it, right? But we would always give those to the dogs because I was so excited, you know, to give the dogs these like special meals, you know, for Christmas and stuff. And then the dogs would just have like the most horrific diarrhea, and they were sick to their stomachs. And so we did it like 2 years in a row, and then I was like, okay, we're not gonna do this anymore. Like they don't know the difference, and they would rather just have their regular food. So we don't do that anymore, because they would just enjoy the regular food. It's just like when we used to like, when we first got them, and like when Pee-Pee was little and stuff, we would go and get like the special cookies for their birthday and stuff, like at the dog bakeries here in town or whatever. But the frosting on it and stuff would just make them so sick, because we don't feed them regular food. You know, we don't feed them anything different than just regular treats and plain food. And I think they like it, and I think their stomachs are used to it. And oh my God, I can remember one year we got them like ghosties or something. It was these purple and black ghosties for like Halloween, and I can't remember which dog it was, but one of the dogs just started having, you know, it wasn't good, okay? So let's just put it that way. Poor little guys. Anyway, so yeah. Now actually the treats that we give them are those, because they don't have any teeth, we give them those little trainer treats that are real small. They look like the end of pencil erasers, and we give them those. Or we give them, like when we give Tucker his medicine, we put, like, it's one of those pill pocket things, but we split them in half, and we just kind of wrap it around the pills, like one half of it, because the pill pockets are too big for Tucker to chew on by himself, just like in one whole thing. But half of it's not, so we'll give half of it to Tucker, and Alex came up with this, and wrap it around the pills, and then the other half of it we give to Boo Radley as a treat, because it's just basically a treat anyway, and they like them. You know, it's interesting because, like, with Pee-Pee, we had to do all of these creative things to get him to take the medication. I mean, it was really hard with Pee-Pee. And, I mean, he just didn't want to take the medication. And so, I mean, we did cheese. We did hit it in his food. We did everything that you could possibly do for Pee-Pee's medication. And, I mean, like, within 2 weeks of giving it to him, something like that, I mean, we were having to come up with new stuff. Peanut butter, you know, all kinds of stuff. I can't, the pill pockets never worked for Pee-Pee. He hated those pill pockets from the very beginning. I mean, he knew, like, he was just like, what are you trying to do here? I mean, it was just always some, squeezed cheese, that actually worked for a while. We would just actually put it on the counter, and then we would put the pill inside of it, and he would just, like, lick it up, and and Pee-Pee really, like, that worked for him for a while until it didn't anymore, you know? And I don't know what it was. I don't know how he could always figure out that we were hiding. He was such a smart dog, but I don't know how he could figure it out. But with Tucker, I mean, literally, like, I mean, we've been doing this for a couple months now, and Tucker, I mean, he never once, like, he just, like, you give him the little treat with the pillows inside of it, and he's just, like, in one gulp, he's like, more please? He's so cute, and I hope it always is like that, you know? Because with Pee-Pee, it got to the point where we had to pill him, which is where you know, put their throat back, and then you put it in their mouth, and you just hold their mouth shut. That's what the vet told us to do. And, you know, Pee-Pee would do really well with me. He kind of fought Alex a little bit on it, and Alex, like, he felt so bad about doing it that Alex didn't like to do it, so I mostly gave Pee-Pee his medication. It became kind of like this bonding thing between Pee-Pee and I. But even then, like, Pee-Pee would just look up with his little eyes at me, just kind of like, Dad, like, why do we have to do, you know, at the end, I would say the last couple months, Pee-Pee would just look up at me when I did it, and he would just open it, he would just open his mouth, because he knew that that's, when I picked him up and put him on the counter, he knew that that's what we were doing. He became a really good boy about taking the pills at the end, but you still couldn't trick him with stuff at all. You couldn't trick him with, you know, food or treats or anything. That's why we had to just, like, pill him at the end and put him in there. And you couldn't do more than one pill at a time. So when he was doing 3 pills, we had to do 3 pills, you know, twice a day. Poor little Pee-Pee. Tucker seems to be doing really well. Like, there's probably only one coughing situation, like, a week. And he's been running around, and he's been really lively lately. And I don't know, maybe the medicine's working really well for him, you know? Maybe it was too late for PP, who knows? I don't know, but, like, I do know that the vet thought he would only make it 6 months, and he made it 1.5 years. So, we didn't know that at the time. I mean, she told us more like 1.5 years, right? So we could keep our hope up. I do think, you know, when the whole thing started with Tucker, and I just want to say thank you to everybody out there that was like, you know, be hopeful, be positive, whatever, because it did help me turn my attitude around, because I think at first I just was kind of like, here we go again, you know, here we go with another dog, and I just was not prepared for it. I was actually watching Debbie's. It's so nice, you guys, to watch, like, the vloggerinas that are doing Vlogmas, because there's some of you that have, like, commented on my videos or sent me messages and whatever, and Debbie was talking about losing both of her dogs in her vlog, and I was like, I think Debbie either sent me a card or she sent me a message or an email. Debbie, I'm sure you know, you remember probably, but telling me about having lost her dogs, because I remembered the names. When she said Maisie, I remembered that, and Pepper, and I was like, oh my God, like, I remember this story. And whether, maybe it was in a comment, I don't know, but I felt like it was like a message or a letter that I received. And so, like, it just really made me feel for you, because, like, when you, it is so hard to lose a pet. I think it's one of the hardest things I've ever gone through in my entire life. I mean, one of the, oh, they're doing an Indiana Jones tribute. So DJ Indiana Jones was a good friend of ours. And he actually DJ'd at our, well, his then girlfriend and fiance, she did too. Ron, his name was Ron. But he passed away from, I think, a heart attack a couple of months ago, and he was a really good friend of ours. It was like one of the first people that Alex and I ever met together as a couple, and he DJ'd a lot all over Indianapolis, and he was also radio host on Radio Now, on the radio station, and he and I went to high school. He went on the south side, but we were like a year apart. I think he graduated in 89 and I was 90, and we had like so many friends in common, and he was just such a fantastic person, and he passed away last year. So they were doing a tribute at the Vogue, which is, the Vogue right there is, that bar right there that I just turned from is where I was at drinking the last night before I got sober. But yeah, talking about the dogs and stuff, I think it's so hard. It's like, when I was watching Debbie's Vlogmas video, like, she was getting really choked up talking about it, and then she said somebody else had passed away recently. I think, like, you know, the hard thing about loss is it's like, you experience a loss, and then you experience another loss, and it brings up all of those feelings from the previous loss, and then you experience another loss, and it's like, it brings up all of those feelings of all the previous losses, and then it's hard to get out of that, right? You know, it's like, I had a friend of mine a couple years ago, she had literally lost like 8 people in 2 years, like close people, like aunts and uncles and a best friend and, like, you know, another family member. And it was like, she said, I can remember talking to her, and she was like, I just feel like I have just suffered so much loss in the last 2 years. And she had, you know, and I think, like, it's so hard when you go through that. And then, like, holidays are tough, because holidays bring up memories, and the memories that they bring up are the people or the dogs or the animals or whatever that have passed away, that have made our lives such, like I said, that made our lives, you know, just so poignant and important. And you know, I said to Alex the other day, I said, I'm really struggling right now, because I don't even know that I really realized it, but I think like one of the reasons why Christmas has been really important to me this year, I'm sure somebody out there has already figured this out, but I think the reason why Christmas is so important to me this year as far as putting up the Christmas trees, and I mean, I love Christmas. I'm trying to do more of that for every holiday each year, right? But specifically this year, like putting up the trees and all this kind of stuff, because it was kind of getting to the point where, well, if I hadn't bought the one for the bedroom, I don't know that I would have cared, but the one in the living room, I kind of was like, okay, we only have like a week and a half left. Do I really care if I put it up? And then I was like, just one day, I was like, it's gonna take you 5 minutes, put the tree up, right? And I'm so glad I did. Like, we had it plugged in tonight, and it looked so pretty in the room when we were watching the show and stuff. And I think that one of the reasons why it was really important for me to do all that stuff this year was because I think I'm really struggling with not knowing, like, if this is going to be PP's last year, or PP's last year, if this is going to be Tucker's last year. And I said that to Alex, you know, I said, I'm really having a hard time with, like, is this going to be Tucker's last Christmas? Because you don't know. I mean, we don't know that about anybody, right? Like, you know, when my aunt, her last Christmas, I mean, she was in bad shape, and I don't even know that it really, that's not true. I mean, I guess we knew it was her last Christmas, but we didn't speak it, like, we didn't say that out loud, you know, like, I remember that last Christmas with my Aunt Kathy, and she had lung disease, and so she was on an oxygen tank, and she could only like walk like literally like a step or two before she had to sit down because she gets so out of breath, and we had to like carry her. It just was bad. That was a bad last Christmas, the way that it all ended, and then she got very scared getting into the car, and I feel like maybe like we were going through so much stuff that we didn't, like, even though I was conscious and aware of the fact that that was probably going to be my aunt's last Christmas, I don't know that like any of us put those words to it. And then she died very shortly after that, in January. She was in the hospital for a little while, then they moved her to hospice, and then that's when she passed away. And I don't think one of them we did, Thanksgiving or Christmas, because Caroline wasn't going to do Thanksgiving or Christmas at all because her dad was living there. And then she said he wanted to do one of them. I think it was Thanksgiving, and then I don't think that we had Christmas. I honest to God, I do not remember. Just a couple years ago. This place right here, do you see this little house right here? It's like this A-frame house. Do you see it? Okay, it's now called Havens, which is like this really nice like nursery. But when I was growing up, it was called something Enchanted something, and it was like this clothing store for kids. And I used to love to go there because I thought it was like, they had like really nice kids clothes there and stuff. Like designer stuff for kids, but it was called the Enchanted Forest or the Enchanted something, I don't know. But when I was a kid, I used to love to go there because the whole inside was decorated like, I mean little kid, like 5 or 6. I think it's hard because, you know, it's like holidays bring up all of the memories of the people that have gone, or the pets and things like that. And then at the same time, it's like, you know, people always go, God, holidays are so hard, right? But then, you know, inside, it's like, you know, like I truly believe that if my mom, you know, could speak to me, what she would say is, you know, I had my holidays while I was there. I don't want your memories of me to keep you from enjoy your holiday, have fun, you know? I know she would say that to me. I absolutely know my mom would say that to me. She wouldn't say, I want you to sit and be miserable missing me and your Aunt Kathy and Uncle Dave and everybody, you know, and not enjoy your Christmas. I know she wouldn't say that. My mom loved Christmas. She would say, I want you to enjoy your Christmas as much as you possibly can, but you know, it's hard. It's like this double-edged sword, because as much as you're trying to enjoy Christmas, it's like Christmas means so much to you because of the... It stopped. But it's hard because it's like Christmas means so much to you because of the people that made it so special to begin with that are no longer there, you know? And so it's a lot of remembering, you know... That's where I do think, like, you know, people always ask me, like, traditions that we keep up and stuff like that for Christmas. It's like, well, a lot of the traditions that I had were really just between me and my mom, you know, because it was just us. And now that she's gone, it's like, sure, keep the traditions alive for my mom, but at the same time, I'd also like to come up with some new traditions, you know, and have some new things. The year that my aunt and uncle, the first year that they went out of town, and I feel like, I don't remember what year it was. I thought it was when I was with my ex, but it could have been when I was with my ex-ex, my 2 exes ago. But because he would do stuff with his family on Christmas Eve a lot, and then I would see him on Christmas Day. My ex, we did every holiday together. So we would go down and see his family for half of it, and my family for half of it, unless we went to Gatlinburg, Tennessee towards the end, but the last couple years. But my aunt and uncle and Caroline would go to Sarasota. The first year that they went, I can remember my mom was like really devastated about it, that they weren't going to be here for Christmas. And she was like, I mean, what are we going to do? It's just going to be the 2 of us. And I was like, it's going to be fine. Don't worry about it, Mom. And so we loved the movies. Well, I still do love them. I haven't seen them in forever, though. The Nick and Nora Charles, the Thin Man series, where they're solving like a murder. And there's one that takes place, I think, on Christmas, at a Christmas party, after a Christmas party, and there's one that takes place on New Year's Eve. Maybe they're both New Year's Eve, I don't know. But anyway, and then they had Asta, this wire-haired fox terrier, which is the dog that I had when I was growing up as a kid. We had a wire-haired fox terrier. My dad had an Airedale. We had a wire-haired fox terrier. But my dad had an Airedale and a Yorkie. And we had a wire-haired fox terrier. So anyway, I remember we went and got a bunch of Chinese food. This was after we were sober, obviously. And we got a bunch of Chinese food. And I can remember my mom ordered it and picked it up. And it was from like the... this restaurant that was right up the street that was called like Chinese Ruby, I think is what it was called. And she was like, and we used to go to it when I was a kid. They had this big fish tank that I loved. It had all this like exotic fish in it and stuff. And she's like, I can remember when I got to her house, she's like, oh my gosh, do you know there were so many people at that restaurant? She's like, I thought it would be dead and everybody would be at home having dinners with their family. And she's like, it was packed. So she got all this Chinese food. Back then we loved like Moo Gai Pan and stuff like that, and we watched the Thin Man series. And then I went home and came back on Christmas morning, and we unwrapped presents and did the sweetheart roll, and everything was fine, you know. It was what it was. Maybe that was like a Christmas while I was single or something. There haven't been many of them, honestly. There really haven't been that many Christmases that I've been single since I was, you know, 18. Maybe 1 or 2. I've like always been in a relationship. Isn't that so crazy? I'm like trying to think of like... Do you know what's so funny? Okay, so my ex used to work for this hair salon. He doesn't work there anymore. But the first year that he moved up here, which would have been our 2nd year together, their Christmas party that year, we were like so excited. And he had started at the salon at like the same time as like 2 other girls who we became like really good friends with. And, like, the one girl's boyfriend, who later became her husband, when we went to Las Vegas together, he and I hung out, like, the whole trip. And I'll never forget, we went to this, he wanted to go, well, they were all at this hair show. He wanted to go to this topless pool at Mandalay Bay, because we were staying at Mandalay Bay. And he got absolutely intoxicated and, like, passed out on the side of this, like, and of course I'm sober, right? So I'm just, like, sitting in the pool and whatever. And he is, like, passed out asleep on the side of this chair, and only half of his body burnt, and the other half of his body was completely white. But anyway, I remember that first year, we, like, wore matching suits, and we were so excited about the Christmas party. And this is so funny, you guys. I totally forgot this till the other day. So they, like, sent limos to, I think there were, at the time, there was probably, like, 50 or 60 people that worked at the salon. So they sent limos to pick up, like, you know, 10 people each, 5 couples or 6 couples or something like that each, right? And so it was so much fun, because we all got to go, like, I think we were, like, the second or third couple that was picked up in our limo. So we got to stop at each person's house, and everybody, you know, was like, he didn't drink when he was with me, and so we weren't drinking, but everybody else was, like, drinking and having a good time in this limo, you know, and dancing, or, like, you know, just dancing and having fun and telling stories. It was so much fun. And it was at these people's house that owned the salon. They're no longer together either, but they, it was at their house, and their house is, like, absolutely beautiful, and it just was, like, this amazing Christmas party. But what I had totally forgotten, okay, was that Tanya's husband at the time, he, like, as a part-time job, like, 1 or 2 days a week in the evenings, this was, like, way back in the day, he drove for Dream Limousine, which was this limousine service here in Indianapolis. I don't even think they exist anymore. And he was our limo driver for that. And I had completely forgotten about that. Like, we, like, pulled over somewhere, like, and, like, he didn't get out when we, like, pulled up to our apartment or whatever. And so it was, like, I don't know, later, and I was like, Eric? And so anyway, and then I was telling Tanya, I was like, do you remember when Eric was our limo driver for the Christmas party? And she was like, yeah. I said, I totally forgot that he worked for that limo company. And then later, Eric and Tanya bought their own limo that they had parked in their driveway forever. And Eric would just, like, he had enough business on his own, like, with friends, like, in town, like, you know, that own businesses and stuff, when they'd be entertaining people or, like, athletes and stuff, that he would drive privately for them. He had this huge, beautiful stretch limo. Isn't that so funny? I had totally forgotten about that. Oh, crazy, crazy, crazy. So there's another Tanya and Peter story that I totally forgot. But that was the Christmas party, the first year of that. The Christmas parties were always really special for that. I remember the year that we broke up. It was actually the day after his Christmas party that we broke up. And things were not good with us. And I knew that. And so a friend rode with us, and that worked at the salon as well. And so I remember when we pulled up, I was going to try to find parking, so I let them out. And he, like, stuck his head back inside, and he goes, just so you know, he goes, people know things aren't good between us. He goes, because I've said some things at work. I don't think he was actually that nice in how he said it, but it was something to that degree. And I can remember I walked into that Christmas party that had always been, like, such a magical, like, experience. Where I just loved the Christmas party, you know, and in my head I kept on thinking, if we could just make it through Christmas, because Christmas is always such a great holiday for us, and we were getting ready to go to Gatlinburg and with my mom, and I thought if we could just make it to Christmas, you know, that we could probably make it through anything. I think that's part of, like, living in the lie that I was talking about the other day. You know, it's like, when you convince yourself that it's just like things are just bad for a moment and they're going to pass, or, you know, and you're not willing to really do the work or improve it at all, you know? And that's definitely where I was. I was like, oh, well, if we could just have Christmas, like Christmas will solve all of the problems, you know, which was such a joke. And so anyway, I went into that Christmas party. I remember exactly where it was because it was at this restaurant. Doesn't exist anymore there, but it was the bar that was connected to the restaurant Ambrosia. And it was called like Bar Blue or something like that. And I remember I walked in, and all of these people that had been friendly to me for all these years were like cold as fish to me. And I can remember standing there. I like went to the bar. They always had like an open bar. I went to the bar and got like a Diet Coke, and nobody was coming and talking to me. And I was standing there by myself, you know, all dressed up for this Christmas party. And I was just standing there, and I can remember thinking to myself, this is the last time I will ever be at one of these Christmas parties. Like, I knew it, like, in my head. It was really sad to me. I just was like, this is it. It's over, you know? Like, this is the last time that I'll ever be at one of these Christmas parties. I knew that. And kind of, like, in a weird way, like, just kind of said goodbye that night to everybody. It was really sad. And then the next day, I went and I worked, like, a 9-hour day, and I came home. Just see him sitting there. He was like watching TV, and he was like flipping through his channels. And he was like, you got to figure out what you're going to do. Like, this relationship's either going to work or it's not going to work. And I remember I was standing there with my work bag on my shoulder, and all of a sudden my arm just went limp, and the bag just fell to the floor. And I remember I was like, I think it's over. I just felt exhausted. I just was like, I loved him. I don't even know that I was conscious at that time that I wasn't romantically in love with him, but I loved him as a person. I thought he was a fantastic person. I still do. I think he's an amazing human being. It just wasn't working between us, you know, and I think about that, and it just really crushed me at that time. You know, I do think it's interesting that we learn so much from our past relationships that we carry into our new relationships, you know. I find myself at times where maybe, like, I'm saying or doing something that caused problems in the past relationship. I find myself, or handling situations with Alex, doing it differently because of what I went through in my past 2 relationships, you know, and that I don't want to do that again, kind of thing. And so I do think it's important to learn from the past relationships that you had, you know, and carry what you've learned into the next relationship. I think it's vital for healthy relationships, you know. Do you know what's crazy to me about that is, that was 14 years ago that happened. January will be 14 years that I left working in treatment. May will be 14 years when my mom passed away. 14 years is a really long time, you guys, you know. It's been a really, really long time. It's funny how, like, telling those stories, sometimes they seem like it seems like it was just yesterday, you know, sometimes. That doesn't, the Christmas party and breaking up with him, that doesn't seem like it was just yesterday, you know. Do you know what's so strange is, like I was saying on here, that I don't really ever, I don't remember the last time I talked to him. I think it was when Scotty died. Like, I don't know, like, if we sat down and had a conversation, like, I don't even know what that would be like. Like, I don't really remember, like, what he sounds like. Any of that. I can remember some of his mannerisms and stuff like that. And my first long-term boyfriend that I had after I got sober, I definitely don't remember stuff about him. So many people have multicolored lights in their trees. I think it's so pretty. I definitely don't remember a lot of it, but he's changed, I'm sure. I mean, it's been 30 years, right? So, it's just crazy to me to think that. It's been. Okay, so we got together. Like 26 years ago, almost, something like that. I mean, it's been 20 years, since 20 plus years, 21 years, 22 years since we broke up. I'm like trying to figure out how old he is. I mean, he still looks really good. He still looks the same as, and he doesn't look the same as we did when we broke up. But I mean, he still looks really youthful. I mean, he still obviously goes to the gym like every day. He's always been like gym obsessed. Do you know what is so funny? Is that my first long-term boyfriend is in a relationship with somebody that's Venezuelan. Isn't that crazy? If I'm 49... I think he's like 2 or 3 years younger than me. So he's probably 46 or 47. And my ex from before, so the year that we broke up, because I can remember he said he wanted to be on a beach for his 30th birthday. And he was. I planned this whole trip for the Dominican Republic, and so he was 30 when we broke up, so he's 44. So crazy that people like in your life, you know, that were so important at one time that you couldn't even imagine going like a day without them. You know, not just romantic partners, not just family, but like friends too, you know. I've had friends of mine that like I literally talk to like every single day. And sometimes it's not just because, most times I would say as you get older, it's not because you guys have a fight or something happens. Most times it's because life just happens. People have kids and they start staying home and not being social, and they're working and raising kids, and that's a lot of work, you know. Or people move across country or move to another state or even just another part of town, and you know, or the thing that you had in common, you like, maybe it was, I don't know, going to the pool together, or, you know, going, I don't know, whatever. It's like that thing that happens that comes in between you. It's like you don't see that person anymore, and it's not for any reason that you like anything that you did. It just is. It's just the reality, you know. And I have several friends of mine that, you know, sobriety is interesting because here's the deal with sobriety. You know, because I go to a lot of meetings where there are newcomers, I meet a lot of people within their first year of sobriety. So what's happened over the last 8 or 9 years since I've been back is that, I mean, what's consistent with newcomers in recovery? Right? Either A, they get sober, and over the course of a year or two, they start getting things back, like their families back. They start getting into relationships, or they repair relationships. They start getting full-time jobs, or they go back to school, you know? So it's like they don't have time to keep up the friendships that they did when maybe they were first sober and they were going to 7 meetings a week, right? And then the other side of that is that a lot of people go back out and start using again. And so with either of those, you know, I've had friends that we were really, really close for a year or two, you know? And I would talk to every single day. Those lights over there are so pretty. They have like, they took the lights from John Deere that I showed a couple years ago and they put them at Conner Prairie. I really want to go over here and see it, but obviously you have to buy tickets and it's like sold out now and stuff. It starts like way over there and it goes all the way back over there. I don't know if you can drive through it or if you walk through it though. But anyway, you know, like I've had a lot of friends of mine that like I called several times a day, texted several times a day, hung out with a couple times a week, that I don't see them anymore, you know? One of my friends I was like really, really tight with, we used to see each other every day. And, well, her boyfriend at the time was in work release, so when he would go back to work, I don't know why it's funny, it's just like she would call me and be like, okay, he had to go back, because like they would go to a meeting together and then whatever, and so then now they're like married and they're very serious relationship. They own a business together, you know, and things like that. And it was nothing ever happened between us. We were great friends. I'm so thankful for her. And we had a lot of fun together. And, you know, she really helped me when I came back in and stuff like that. But she just has a different life today. Her kids are grown now and, you know, they're married and they have a business together. And so, you know, I have another friend of mine that her kids, like, when she and I used to hang out, you know, her kids were with their dad every other weekend, and now they're like grown and they've got, you know, sporting events and things like that she's really active in, and so I don't see her as much. I've had a couple friends of mine that have gone back out, and you know, so it's just like you distance yourself from people, or distance happens between you and other people, and not for any specific reason, you know, it just is like, that's just life, right? So, and then I also think, like with my friend that I was just talking about, you know, it's like, I think she was like 6 months sober when I met her, and so she was only working like part-time at the time. This is years ago. She was like only working part-time, and it was like from home. So she could, we were going to 2 meetings a day. We were hanging out. We were going to eat together, you know, and then she'd get to see her boyfriend like in the evening when, like, you know, he was going to a meeting, and then she would walk back with him or whatever. And then I would see her in the evenings. We'd, like, you know, drive around and, stuff, and yeah, but we used to listen to the Police Scanner together. Oh my god, we loved that. It was so much fun. You know, you can download the Police Scanner on your phone, the app, and listen to the Police Scanner from anywhere in the world. We would just sit there and drink coffee and listen to the Police Scanner and smoke cigarettes. It was so much fun. I know it sounds lame, but it wasn't. It was really fun. We'd be like, what do you think's going on? And she really helped me with that period of my sobriety, because that was when I came back in. I didn't know a lot of people. She introduced me to a lot of people that were new, you know, and I probably was like a newcomer when I came back into the rooms at first, you know, and I'm real thankful for that. And I'm glad that she has a life today that she's happy about, you know, and that she has a business that she loves, and, you know, a husband that she is really happy with, and she did a fantastic job raising her kids, and they're in college now, and I'm, you know, real happy for her. I'm really proud of her. The thing is that friendships just change over time, you know, and I think that's one of the reasons why, like Tanya means so much to me, because she's been a constant in my life for almost 25 years now at this point, right? Like, she's been a constant every day, you know, and that doesn't mean that I don't have room for new friends, because I do. It's just nice to have that one person that knows everything about you inside and out for 25 years, you know? It's just... guys started thinking about your New Year's resolutions? I'm not a big person on resolutions. I say this every year. I really like New Year's goals. I usually sit down on my sobriety birthday and I come up with all these goals I want to achieve in the next year, and I didn't do that this year. So I guess I'm going to come up with New Year's goals. Alex and his girlfriends always do vision boards every year. So yeah, I don't know how I'm going to do vision board. I mean, I know how to do a vision board, but I don't know that I want to do a vision board. He was like, they were trying to figure out a day that they were going to go do them, and he was like, do you want to come to do the vision boards? Oh, they were going to do them on Tuesday, and Tuesday I'm getting my coin. And he was like, do you want us to change the date for when we're going to do them so you can come too? And I'm like, no, I'm good. And Alex literally does this huge vision board every year, and it sits on our dining room table. Like, his one from last year is sitting out there now for an entire year. He never looks at it. Nothing. It just sits there. And then he and this friend of ours that comes to visit, well, she comes home to visit her mom every year from San Francisco. She and Alex are super close. I mean, I'm close with her too, but she and Alex are like really, really close. And they usually, like, whenever they'll have brunch, like once while she's here. She's always only here for like 3 or 4 days. And they'll sit down and they write on napkins, like they go to Patashu, and then on napkins at Patashu, they'll write out their intentions for the following year. And like, Alex is so serious about this. He keeps them and like he holds on to them for a whole year, and then you're supposed to read them the following year. This is actually something that Alex's mom started, because when I first got with Alex, we like did our first, like the first New Year's that we ever had, we were like with her, and then we went out with friends like after it turned midnight. And so I guess this is a thing, like a Latino thing in certain countries, but Venezuela is one of them. In Mexico, they actually do this as well, because when Alex and I went to Mexico, they did this at this the New Year's party that they have there, which is where you have 12 grapes, one for every month of the year. Now, I think different countries do them different ways. Like, for Venezuela, or the way that Alex does it, or whatever, is you eat a grape for the 12 minutes counting down, I think. It's something like that. At this party that we went to, they actually gave us like this little plastic thing with grapes inside of it, and they were wrapped. It was really cool. It was really cool. It was really cute, is what I was gonna say. Really cute and really cool. And then they told us to like pop all of the grapes in our mouth as the last 12 seconds of the countdown. And then Alex's mom also did this thing where you took an empty suitcase and you ran around the house 3 times after it turned midnight, and that was supposed to bring you a lot of travel for the following year. But then I found out that that was not a Venezuelan tradition. That was a made-up Alex's mom tradition. But the writing of intentions is like something that like she's done like her entire life. Like, her family did it, and she brought it to Alex and Carlos and Fufu as well, is that you write out your intentions for things that you want to, and you write it like intention forward, like this will happen, like this will happen, you know, and like affirming the positive, like manifestations, or what you're asking for to happen, what you want to happen for the following year, you know. So Alex always writes those out. That's always like really important to him. So I don't know, if our friend's not coming home, maybe Alex and I will do it this year. Oh my Lord, what time is it? Okay, well, you guys, the video is coming close to an hour, so I'm gonna get off here now, and I'm gonna listen to my audiobook for a little bit. Might watch a little bit of a Christmas movie, who knows? Maybe a little Smoky Mountain Christmas action going on. Anyway, I hope that you, first I have to say, if nobody else has told you this today, I love you, and I hope that you guys are having a magically amazing Monday, and I hope you're refreshed, rejuvenated, renewed, and restarted. Is that a word? For the week ahead. And yeah, and rejoiced for, there you go, Christmas word, for the week ahead. And I love you guys so much, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.